Unfortunately, many people approach the Torah in a cold, lifeless way. And it's not any group that does this, but the individuals that do like this. There are paths that are like this. Not any particular custom. You can't point your finger that it's this Hasidic group or that it's these Lithuanian Jews or these German Jews, God forbid. All of them are holy. All of them have holy paths. But they're individuals who approach the Torah in a cold, lifeless way, in the way of the Septuagint, not in the way of the Targum. And the message that we have 12 tribes, all different ways, is to teach us that there are many ways, because the Torah is alive, the Torah moves, the Torah interacts with us. It's not just something you study in college. But there's unfortunately a form of fundamentalism that seeps into people of all different backgrounds to approach in a cold way. And that leads them to look in it as my way or the highway. They're not interested in any other way. They don't respect any other way. And this is totally against what the Torah is supposed to be about. The Torah is supposed to be alive. And so since it's alive, it could interact with different people in different ways. And so the way I approach Torah might not be the same way you approach Torah. And that's okay. Not only that's okay, that's ideal. That's the way it's supposed to be.
No. Come down here. Come on.
So, what is it that how we approach it? And we see this, unfortunately, it's caused so many problems for our people. This type of fundamentalism, this type of my way or the highway attitude. And unfortunately and ironically, again, I don't want to say any particular path, but in my experience, I've seen much more fundamentalism, much more chauvinism in what the many who call themselves, I don't want to label the whole world, but more among those who consider themselves to be modern Orthodox than among those who consider themselves to be Haredi. There's more of this, you're more likely to hear a modern Orthodox Jew say, the Satmars, they're anti-Semites. You don't hear words like that in Williamsburg, and I'm curious. I have a friend who's studying in Yeshiva. He studied there. He was ordained there. That's a little controversial. For whatever reasons, it doesn't matter. And from the modern world, and maybe what would be considered by some to be a more liberal approach in modern Orthodoxy. But still within the bounds of Torah. And he called me up. We were roommates in college. He called me up. He said, please, I want to go Shabbos to Kiryas Joel, to the Satmar community. He went. He enjoyed it so much. He said, if I go to Washington Heights, to the Yeshiva University community, I'm blacklisted because I'm with this yeshiva. I go to Kiryas Joel. I go to the Spinker Stiebel there. They sit me next to the rabbis up front. And they say, and the Gabbai of the shul introduces them. We have Mahatu Chushev Gast, a poor Chushev Orchem. I feel dignified and honored guests. Madena Rabbonim for Madena Yidin. That's what the Gabbai is. Meaning, we respect, this is not our world, this is not our way, but we respect you when you're also rabbis. Even though you're not rabbis for our community, and it couldn't be more different, but we still love you because we're all one people. Whereas, on the other hand, those they're more close, It's not. It doesn't go so easy. And I hate to say it, the same thing. People talking about this type of fundamentalism. You don't see the Bedats or the Saftas Rabbanim nullifying conversions. Who do you see? You don't see. You don't see from the Satmar, from the ultra Haredi community nullifying Paslim conversions. Who do you see? The RCA and the Rabbanut. They're the ones from the modern world. They're the ones who say, "Oh, this one's not good enough. That one's not good enough." And then they say, "Well, no, we're not saying this. We are saying this and this." The mitzvah you have to misagir. Go see what it was like in Baba a few years ago. The Baba Baruch Shlita gave so much respect for one of his close students who was a convert. He made a wedding for him as if it was his own son. I was there at the wedding. It's a different world. Not to say, yes, Baruch Hashem, there are wonderful people in the non-Orthodox world too, in Yeshiva University area, who are wonderful, holy people. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying against the group. But I'm saying it's the mindset that you cannot tolerate other people. That's not the way of Torah. Who is it who blowing up things? I'll tell you, as different as my views are from those of Rabbi Meir Kahana, Alav Shalom. Now his cousins, they blew up a mosque in the Holy Land. I can guarantee you that their uncle or cousin, whatever, Rabbi Kahana, he would not have approved what they're doing. And they're claiming they're doing it like him. That's not the way of Torah. The way of Torah is we get along, we live. It says in the Proverbs, and we say in our liturgy, ways of pleasantness, and all the paths of peace. This is the way of the Torah. Doesn't mean we give in, doesn't mean we compromise. It means that we learn to exist with each other. And we try our best to focus on ourselves, to make ourselves better, and hope that other people will also want to do the same thing, but not to impose and say this way is good, this way is good, but no. We don't have a Sanhedrin right now. We only have, each one has their own Das Torah to go to, and that's good, and that's fine. You follow your own rebellion. You don't go say, oh, this one's anti-Semite, this one's no good, that one's no good. That's not the way of Torah. What does it gain you? There are all kinds of things going on in the community right now, in the rabbinical world, and people want to talk about what this one did, what that one did. What does it gain you to talk about it? Only sins? Only suffering? The Torah tells us, the Gemara tells us that to speak Lashon Hara, we all know. I don't have to repeat it. It's worse than the three big ones. Than the worst sins is to speak Lashon Hara. So what does it gain you to speak Lashon Hara?